More transfer bonus options. Rove adds Japan Airlines. Mark's going over all of his recent applications and all the big points and money he earned. All of that coming up right now on MTM Travel.
Making it rain. Is that still cool? Probably not.
So welcome to the Thursday show, the Miles and Points show. We're not going to talk about world events or anything going on. We're going to talk about the nitty and gritty of Miles and Points, saving on stuff like dining and everything else. I know that you recently, you've been hot on this Resy thing this week. Where did you go eat with your Resy credits?
Yeah, I had a buddy, a Diamond member, who was in town. He comes in town a couple times a year for work because we're like a big mortgage center, and he's a mortgage broker. So he flies out, meets up with, I think it's Wholesale Mortgage. He doesn't work with Quicken that much or Rocket. But he's always like, hey, I'm going to be in town. I have this night free. What do you want to do? I have a Resy credit to burn. So I took him down to Prime and Proper in Detroit, which is my favorite higher end restaurant. It's a steakhouse, but it's more like decadent than a steakhouse. Like everything's like comfort food and like over the top. My favorite thing there is chicken fried lobster, which is lobster tails battered, dipped, and then like deep fried. It's amazing. They do this like butters, a little bit of spice aioli that you dip it in. Oh, out of this world. If you're ever in the area and you're a foodie, that's the place to go. So we burned a couple credits there. We each had one. And then we walked around the corner to my favorite, like, lesser known bar, but most people know about it that live in the area. It's down an alley, and it definitely looks like a sketchy alley that you don't want to walk down when you're going to it.
Isn't that every alley in downtown, dude? No, but there was I remember like when we did our
You
meetup
don't
in
finish
downtown
that.
Detroit.
Did you want to say downtown Detroit? It's every downtown. Every downtown's alley is crappy.
Look, I think I was out of downtown Detroit at 2 a.m. I think I walked all throughout downtown Detroit in the middle of the night and didn't really feel unsafe. I'm sure there's areas that are, but like I remember there being some really cool like bars kind of away in these different alleys that we kind of hit. So yeah, just because it's scary or looks scary doesn't mean it is.
Yeah, this one's it's called Bad Luck Bar. There's no sign. You wouldn't know it's there unless you know where to look for it. So it's right around the corner from Prime and Proper. You go down this alley. The door has like a hand on it with like a design, almost looks like a snake type of thing going up it. And that's all that's there. There's like a little bit of a light in a cinder block window, so you can't see inside. You open up. Sometimes it's locked. You have to call. But you open up that door and there's a little hostess there and there's black curtains. You can't see anything. And then as soon as they open up the black curtains, there's this tiny little super high end feeling bar. The back wall is like 2 stories tall, just stocked with liquor. And they make all these like fantastic drinks that they're expensive. It's going to be $20 to $30 per drink. But they make if you sit up at the bar, they make it right in front of you and talk to you. And the one that they're most known for is a smoked old fashioned that comes with Moroccan cashews that also get smoked at the same time. You're supposed to take a sip and then take a bite of the cashew in between each one, and adds to the flavor profile. Really cool. Like if you want to do a date night or just like a fun night in Detroit, those two things together are pretty hard to beat.
So I just learned that Resy turned you into a yuppie.
Yeah, I mean that's what is on Resy though for the most part. There's a couple like Irish pubs and stuff like that, but most of the time it's a nicer restaurant that you're going to. But it's been fun because we got these perks. We didn't pay for them. We didn't get the increased annual fee. We're taking advantage of them after they add them before the next annual fee kicks in. So it's kind of like house money that you're playing with. I don't know that I'd want to pay the full annual fee for the perks that you get, but the Resy credits have been a lot easier to use than they used to be. I think there's a lot more restaurants and Lululemon and all that stuff. Like it's starting to get where I used to always close the platinum card after the first year without a retention offer. It's getting to that point that like, okay, maybe like the Charles Schwab Platinum will keep open so we can cash out points. Maybe that's worth paying for past the year. We'll have to see.
Yeah, a lot of calculations, and I've gone ad nauseum on that. But I think a great point you make on Resy is, and some of these other restaurant platforms, is they really have done a good job of expanding compared to where they were a year or two ago, where you would have just like a few options in each city. We've talked about in-kind a lot. In-kind, I paid really close attention in Vegas, and just in the last year, it's probably tripled the amount of places that they have, and it seems to be the case in other cities as well. Yeah, I think that the opportunity for doing it. Are you using any other programs? So we talked about Resy, which people are using with their platinum credits. And I talked last year, we did a lot of gift cards for like local places so that we can go back because I'm terrible at staying on top of my credits and stuff like that. So I have a bunch of gift cards for like this local Thai restaurant and Golden Tiki, which I haven't gone to, and some other things here locally. I've been using In Kind a lot, obviously, have some referrals and stuff, but they have like great stuff. But what else are you using? I know Chase Restaurants with the Sapphire, that still only has like 5 things in Vegas, which one of
Yeah.
them is a great restaurant I love, but more limited.
Yeah, that I have my buddy's card from Thailand because I think we talked about this already. He can't use it in Thailand, so he's just sent it to me and said, "Hey, use it." So we did that once. I have to use this quarters or this biannual credit. I forget how it's set up there, but we still have to use that one. And there's only like 4 restaurants here that are on it, and 3 of them aren't something that I would be interested in eating. The one we went to was really good, so we'll probably just go back there, but it does stink that it's more limited. Same with, In Kind, like, I looked that up. You talk about it so much, there's so many good deals. We just had the gift card post on the site where you could buy a $100 gift card on Amazon for $70, which is a great deal. There's just not that many restaurants on there right now, at least not ones that I'm super interested in going to, so I'll keep an eye on that as it grows or maybe as I'm traveling and see some good options. But I mean, as much as I hated the Hilton credit and I complained about it on this show several times, it's kind of my favorite thing now.
Why? I mean, how has your experience with it changed? I've been,
I
yeah.
I got
People
lucky.
should go back though and understand the context of this. How many
Yeah.
times you complained about these Hilton credits and how many times they did you wrong?
Yeah, I got out of trying to use them while traveling. That's the key. And this won't work for everybody. But I just started trying like Hiltons around me. And a lot of people have done this. I think there's a spreadsheet going around that shares like each place where it does work. When the hotel up at the cottage became a Hilton, a Curio, I was very excited about that, thinking, okay, we eat here quite a bit. That will work. Bought a gift card in the restaurant, didn't work. Tried to charge at the restaurant, didn't work. If we stay at the hotel, it works, which we stayed there and we talked about a week or so ago. But I'm like, hey, can I buy a gift card and you do it on the Hilton system? Maybe that would work. And I talked to the general manager and she thought it might be possible. So I was going to try that. But then I tried the local, the Hilton by us here. It's like 2-3 miles away, downtown Birmingham, which is very nice. And it's called the Daxon. It's also a Curio, and Curio is a bit different, where it's not like a real Hilton. They're just kind of using the Hilton to book their room. So I tried to buy a gift card there, but they sold me a Daxton gift card, and they did it on an iPad up at the. You couldn't buy it like at the bar. It was just a weird system. So that didn't code. So I thought I was out of luck. Well, I bought some stuff at the bar, had some drinks, and it worked there. And they have an amazing happy hour where you can get half off their small plates, which is like steak bites, lamb lollipops, things like. See, I am fancy now with these credits. And the beer is $4. Every day they have happy hour. Really great servers, bartenders there. So we just go there for date night, and we have 6 surpasses, which I've talked about before. So every every quarter we have 6 date nights like paid for.
No, I mean that's awesome, and now you don't have to worry about the uncertainty when you're traveling, trying
Yeah.
to, oh, is this hotel going to do this? And it really drove you mad, and not just you, a lot of people. And I think this is a much better way to do it, to use it for restaurant spend. And I think that just the reason we had this conversation was to show you guys that there is different ways, maybe to be fancy, like you said, to have the date night. It doesn't mean that every single day you're getting this free food, although there are opportunities with referrals and stuff where you could potentially get credit and have more. But generally, it's going to be higher end restaurants and stuff like that. But across the different programs, it's good. The in kind stuff, we had the 30% off, also 35% at Costco sometimes. I don't know if we've seen one of those in a little while, but the last time that we had it a couple months ago, I bought them during that. And then you combine it with In Kind is famous for sending out their promos. DDG does a great job of covering all of the stuff. Sometimes they'll have like it's just a 10 off 10. I've used that for like coffee, just for doing a survey, or 25 free or 25 off 50. And once you start to say, okay, I got a 25 off 50 and then I got 35% off the gift card, you start to actually see a pretty significant savings, like 50% on the stuff. And lots of ways to go about it.
Yeah, and a lot of people, when it comes up to the end of the quarter, they'll go and Some Hiltons have a Starbucks in it, so they'll go and I think Benji was at one this morning having his coffee after dropping off the girls and had breakfast sandwich and stuff. So you can do that, or they'll go to like their local Hampton Inn and go to the sundry area that's overpriced crap, but you can buy a couple bottles of wines and stuff. And I just find it's a lot less stressful, so I enjoy it more, to the point that like people are, why do you have 6 surpasses instead of aspires and you get the free night? I would rather have the $50 Hilton credit than the $200 resort credit, because then you're back to you're locked to these certain properties that you have to travel to. You have to try to split tender while you're there. It's just too much of a pain. I'd rather do this. I'd rather earn my free night certs via spend and rack up the points as well. And it just works better for us. And I'd even thought about downgrading, upgrade, playing all that game and stuff. I'm like, nope, I'm good. I'm getting more than my annual fee and value. I'm okay with that. And it's been working. So try to find that sweet spot near you if you can.
And if anybody knows that sweet spot in Vegas, you can reach out to me and let me know. I'm sure it exists, and I'm sure with this city, somebody's figured it out, but I haven't been paying too much attention. So let's move on to transfer bonuses. There's 7 going on right now, quite a bit more than we've had recently. And I'll show you guys the full list. We have an article on the website, and just so you know, Mark keeps this up to date, so you can bookmark this, but we're constantly updating this with all of the transfer bonuses, the historical ones, everything else going on. But I'll just go down the list. Citi, thank you. They have a 25% bonus to Wyndham that ends March 21st. Then Amex has a single 15% transfer bonus to Avianca. Chase has 20% bonuses to British Airways, Iberia, and Aer Lingus, all Avios programs. Rove has a 50% transfer bonus to Japan Airlines, and we'll talk a little more about that one in a minute. Capital One Miles, 30% to preferred hotels. So, yeah, 3 of these, you were mad at me because I was trying to characterize the 3 Avios ones as like kind of like one.
No, we got a comment in the Miles to Memories Facebook group too, like, hey, Avios isn't, they're all the same. And yes, they are. And I even in the separate article that I wrote about those and the preferred hotels bonus, I said you can consider them one. But I do think there's some value when you can transfer to the individual programs. Each program has their own unique uses. Sometimes it's better price here or there, better booking rules or whatever. And transferring, yes, you can transfer between the programs, but it gets kind of annoying depending on which ones you're trying to go to. Sometimes you have to go from A to C to B, and it's just so much easier when you could do it individually. And our buddy Dave has figured out, he booked with Iberia, and it's been so painful. They downgraded him from business to economy and stuff, and he was trying to get him canceled, and it's been hours on the phone. He said, never again. I'm just going to book with British Airways. I don't care if it costs a little bit more. I don't want to deal with this call center again. So there you go. There's the perk. You don't have to mess with Iberia, move them around, all that stuff. If it was just that one transfer bonus, now you can go to British Airways.
Iberia is not good experiences with Avios in Iberia. To this day, I cannot transfer Avios between my Avios accounts, so I've never been able to just combine them or to move them.
Selling it for me.
It's just terrible.
They're unique.
This. And so, yes, I agree with you. I actually have the same thing, is that I use British Airways when I've used it. I haven't used Avios a ton lately, but Iberia, I had so many problems back in the day. There was that promotion way back when I forget what it was, but you got a bunch of Avios in Iberia, and it was just, my experience with them was terrible. But yeah, I absolutely agree with you listing these separately. These are separate loyalty programs, even though they're connected and you can move points between them. They all have different rules and quirks and different airlines behind them, and they are legitimately different programs. Rove Miles, we should add, they just added Japan Airlines as their 14th transfer partner, and that 50% transfer bonus is through the end of March to celebrate that. So Rove is, we talked about them on the show before, maybe lesser known, but they are coming in with a decent selection of transfer partners and adding a really good bonus here.
Yeah, and they keep growing, and this is a great shopping portal. It's a good way to book hotels and flights if you want to do that, if you're paying cash, especially once they added the loyalty program eligible rates on hotels. It's something to kick the tires on, and they continue to add this. And it's crazy. Japan Airlines was never a partner of anybody, and seems like how it goes. Somebody breaks down the door, and then they just start selling their miles to everybody, because why wouldn't you? Once you give them to one, why wouldn't you give them to all? So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Japan get added to a couple more places. I wouldn't be surprised if, I don't know if anybody wants Spirit, but Bill adds Spirit. I wouldn't be surprised if Rove adds Spirit or somebody else adds Spirit down the line, and maybe the next one is Frontier or something like that. We'll have to see, but it's just nice to see that even though we've thought things were a certain way for forever, there's still room for change.
I know somebody who really loves Spirit Airlines enough to get their credit card, and for no reason at all.
That's my wife.
We'll talk about that in a minute, but yeah, I agree. Rove, Japan Airlines releases a lot of last minute space too, so there's opportunities there. And with this 50% bonus, I don't imagine people have a ton of Rove miles running around. I don't have any, or really much, not enough to really transfer over. So yeah, I mean, I think this is a great deal, and hopefully they continue with this. I mean, this company just started a couple years ago, and I didn't realize they came out of the Y Combinator, which is like a technology sort of incubator, and that's where this app came from. And it's just interesting to see that aspect of the world making its way into miles and points.
Yeah, I think the cool thing is it's created by people that are big into miles and points. It's not created by people that just saw a niche or a potential thing for business, a potential profitable angle. They were like, hey, we're into all this stuff. How can we do this better? And you've seen that from time to time in other industries or other aspects of miles and points, but they're in there. They kind of know what the game is or what their people are looking for, what they're willing to do, and they're running promos that match that. So it's fun. I haven't kicked the tires on it too much. I probably need to dive a little bit more into it. I still kind of go to Rakuten most of the time, especially with the built points now. But with Hyatt changing things, maybe I need to start looking at, hey, if Rove, if they're giving me a little bit more for my spend, maybe I should go there. They have similar transfer partners. A lot of them overlap quite a bit, but Japan Airlines, were you tempted by the built transfer bonus at all with the up to 125% or whatever it was? Or my son wants to go to Japan. I considered it, but the 3-year hard cutoff of where those miles expire, it's like, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I would only do it if you had an immediate booking. And so that's sort of what it is. I mean, I have a ton of Alaska miles, as we've talked about. I did the whole Hawaiian thing. I have a bunch of thank you points that I can turn into American miles. And when they get decent saver availability for those routes, the prices aren't bad in those programs to go to Japan in business class. So I don't know. I think that those are fine, and I wouldn't lock them in anywhere else. But there is some value. I'm not an expert on Japan Airlines mileage bank, but I know it's good to see,
Their
like you say,
site
more
sucks.
options.
I never even got to the point that I signed up for their frequent flyer program because it was like you can't transfer for so many days, so you have to sign up. And this was when Built first announced it. They're like, "Hey, sign up now," and I went to do it, and it was like filling out a form from 1992. I'm like, I'm not doing this.
Oh, you should have seen. I got my account with them, I don't know, 15 years ago, a long time ago, and they sent you the card back in the day, and it was just all very formal, like the way it felt like the paper that came with was like typed up, and it was just, they use that font, the English font that is like you see in Japan all the time. There's a very specific font they use in English, and it doesn't look like a font we use here. And yeah, just a very Japanese experience. But there are quirks with these programs, like some of the Korean programs you can only book, like Korean Air, you can only book for immediate family members, and they have to be like on your account. So there's all these different things, hard expiration dates, as you mentioned, with other airlines too, and just yeah, we have more opportunity, but there's more rules, and it's not always like it is here.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing where I differ from a lot of people that are heavy into miles and points, where they're like, "Hey, I want all the programs, I want to know them all, or I want to learn them, and I want to take advantage of all the little sweet spots here and there, and I'm going to book with this mileage point." I stick to like my 6 programs, or maybe it's like 8, something like that, and you can book pretty much everything you need to book with those programs. And yes, I might pay a little bit more, but I know how to work them. I know their customer service is at least okay. The one that I would probably drop is Life Miles. I'm up against it with them right now. I don't know if I'm going to call to make a cancellation, but we can talk about that on the travel show in the next week or two. So I just kind of stick to that, and I earn points that funnel to those places, and I think it's just easier. I'm not worried about getting caught up in these different rules or hoops or jumping through the stuff. And if have to spend 10,000 more miles for that booking, oh well, so be it. It's worth the peace of mind to me. I'm not going to spend an extra couple hours to save that $150.
Mark has 6 programs, and 5 of them are Avios. That's how it all
No,
works.
we should pour one out. We should pour one out for Avios. Man, remember how good that program was for American Airlines and stuff? That was the first international program I earned in because we were going to go to Dublin like 10, 15 years ago. And that was the all the rage, like 25,000 for business on Aer Lingus with British Airways. So we both signed up for the British Airways card. And by the time we ended up getting around to book the trip, they had doubled the price, but it was still a good deal back then. And American Airlines flights for 4,500. Oh, so good.
Yeah, I've talked about my favorite redemption going to a Packers game, $1,200 round trip flight for 9,000 Avios on American. So many good deals back in the day. We are going to talk in a future show about how we're moving on from Hyatt or what our strategy is for that. I know you mentioned that briefly, so we'll do that on an upcoming show. But you have brought back your series on Miles to Memories of your recent credit card applications and sort of what your strategy is, how you're earning, and thought we could go into that a little bit. A lot of these applications we have talked about on the show, like your Triple Dip and your Spirit Airlines credit card for your 10,000 mile trip that went up to 20,000 miles as soon as they posted.
Yeah.
In fact, I think if I remember right, you saying on the show that you're like, it's going to take a while for them to post, but I'm confident, or you're hopeful that they would stay the same, and it didn't. But yeah, go walk us through. I mean, a lot of these posts are great because he is now walking you through his thought process, what he's doing, and he's showing you real results of how he's playing this game.
Yeah. So the only ones I really had planned out in advance were the Bank of America Premium Rewards Elite cards that we talked about previously. Get those mid-December. The hope is to triple dip the credits, the $150 lifestyle and the $300 airline incidental, which I just buy American Airlines gift cards. The problem is Bank of America takes like 3 weeks to post those credits. Even though I did them on January 1st, it took until like January 20 something for them to post. So I don't know if I'm going to be in that window that I can cancel and get my full refund. We'll have to see how that plays out next year. But even so, got $750 cash bonus for each after 5,000 spends. So there's $1,500 right there. And then we got just from being able to use the ones we did use, $600 in Uber or DoorDash credit and $1,200 in American Airlines gift cards, which I told everybody I sold to help pay for the flights to Bermuda, all the taxes and fees and stuff, because they wouldn't let me use those. And then the other one I knew I was going to get was Built. I just didn't know which card because we didn't know what they were going to be like. And we signed up for the Palladium cards early January. And everything after that was kind of just like, oh, crap, I kind of need that. Or maybe I should get this, as one does.
So here's your grand totals: $2,169 in annual fees, total spending $49,000 in order to hit these. So I think the annual fees are important to mention because you are paying that up front, but in exchange, you got $4,000 in cash. And if we can do math, then we can see that you're up over $1,800 just in the cash department. If we take out the annual fees, 230,000 airline miles, 112,000 Built points, 1,200 in American gift cards, and 600 in Uber DoorDash credits. So you can see how the value is significantly there. And also, I think that's a good example of how sometimes you have to look past the annual fees to see, am I getting outsized value? And here, especially with your cashback cards, you're clearly seeing that you're doing good, even though some would argue that a lot of that cashback came from no annual fee cards. So when we're adding it all together, I know somebody in the comments is going to say that.
Well, that's why you grab those, though. And we talked about the 2 business cards that we did grab. The Bank of America one that was $500. It's normally 1.5% back on everything. $300 bonus, but it was up to $500. It happens every so often. And the U.S. Bank Triple Cash, which is $750 after $6,000 in spend, but they give you 6 months to do it. So I could push that one out a bit. And we both got each of those cards. So we're talking that alone is $2,500. And I did that to help offset the annual fees. I'm not here to spend money. I wanted to do all this stuff as close to free as possible. So there is some opportunity costs in putting spend on those cards, but a lot of the cards have bonus categories and stuff that I'm able to accrue a lot of the spend in. So I'm not giving up much in terms of that. And even that, I didn't include any of the points earned from the spend with the stuff, except for some of the Built points, because my wife did get that TPG 5X offer. So I threw in the 3X earning on her $4,000 in spend, even though she didn't sign up for it. So yeah, good news on the Spirit front, though. I double checked the other night. I'll update the article on the site and share it this weekend. But double checked the other night, and they dropped back down to 12,500. Booked it, 50K spent, not the 40K I was planning on, but got my flights, was able to get out from under my 23,000 point Delta flight. So it all worked out in the end.
It did. Now you just don't have that extra 10,000 for an extra cheap flight somewhere. No, I
Yeah.
think that's a win in the end. And, that's what you apply for. You got those miles, you got rid of them. I think that, this is what we're sort of doing as far as Mark is back on the site. He's going to do this stuff. But I know we have the free Facebook group going again, where we have over 16,000 people in there. If you're out there wanting to learn more, wanting to engage, of course, we have our Diamond Patreon. We also have the Gold membership for $10 a month. We have shows and things that are going more in depth. And then if you go to the Diamond group, we have our spending time show, and really demystify this whole thing for you and make it easier and find a community of people looking to do it. But I love these kind of posts that you do. You said you hadn't written one, so you weren't allowed to write these type of posts at your other job?
I mean, they're just more conservative and more worried about affiliate relationships and stuff like that. So it was never like said, don't write these, but I just figured it was kind of a line that they didn't want to cross. So I towed the line, but I like these types of posts. These are the types of posts I like to read. So I'm happy to be able to read them again. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that I'll write about at Miles to Memories that I used to write at Miles to Memories that I maybe didn't write much over there, just because of similar type of things. So I'm excited to do that. Kind of, it reignites the flame and the excitement for writing again a bit, because there's all this stuff that like is untapped that I've been wanting to write about, and I did some of it like in the private group and things like that. But it's nice to be able to put it out there for the public again.
So make sure to bookmark milestomemories.com. We have new posts, deals, several posts every single day. Between the Vegas and this show, we're putting out a new show every day, Monday through Friday. So Miles and Points Vegas, all of that stuff. Let us know down in the comments, how are you doing restaurant credits? What program are you using? I'm sure there's other programs that we didn't mention. Let us know how you're saving, what percentages you're achieving, all of the transfer bonuses, your Avios. Do you miss the good old days of Avios? And then your credit card spree. What can we learn from what Mark did? Leave a comment. We do 2 shows a week. Tuesdays, our travel show. Thursdays, In the Weeds with Miles and Points. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Vegas. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Oh, you got it all done in one take. Nice. Have a good weekend, everybody.
I screwed up enough already today. It's okay.